All right, what's up, guys? Today, I want to talk to you guys about two HDMI 2.1 products from the company EasyCool. They both serve different purposes, so let's talk about them. So again, these are both HDMI 2.1 devices. They support pretty much every codec out there: Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, HDR10, DTX, HDCP 2.2 and 2.3, you name it. But first, we're going to talk about the AK HDMI 2.1 switch 4x1. This is the simpler and more straightforward of the two devices. It's extremely easy to use. It's pretty much plug and play. Both of these devices do require 5 volts of power to power them. They do come with the power supply included in the box. This HDMI switch is a 4x1 device, which means that it has 4 inputs and 1 output. You pretty much plug in your PlayStation and your Xbox in 1 and 2. And then on the output device is the one where you plug in your HDMI to your TV. Now, why would you need this exactly if your TV has HDMI 2.1 ports? Well, some more budget friendly and some older HDMI 2.1 TVs usually only came with 2 HDMI ports that supported 2.1. And usually that HDMI port is also the ARC port, which is the one that you use to plug in your sound bar, your surround sound system. So you are left with pretty much one HDMI. So that's where this device comes in. You plug in all your HDMI 2.1 devices in here, your PC, your PS5, your Xbox One X, and one wire goes to your TV or the one HDMI port that you have available, and you are able to switch between them with the ease of a button on the device itself or with the controller that they provide. It's also very useful for people that want a cleaner setup. I know some people like to only have like one wire going to their TV, or they have those setups where the wire goes in through the wall. You don't want to have a whole bunch of wires going in through the wall. This helps out with that as well. Now let's move on to the 8K HDMI 2.1 splitter 1x4. This is the more interesting of the two devices. It has a couple more functions compared to the switch. Now again, this is a 1x4 splitter, which means it has a 1 input and 4 outputs. Now, the purpose of this device is to duplicate a single input. It allows you to have the same image on multiple devices at the same time. For instance, if you have a living room set up with multiple TVs, or a gaming den for the boys where you watch football games and stuff like that with multiple TVs, this allows you to have the same image going to multiple screens at the same time. Not only that, this device is really good for gamers and streamers as well, because it allows you to send your image to your gaming screen and your capture card at the same time. And it also has a scaler built in. What the scaler allows you to do is to send a 4K 120Hz 60Hz image and downscale it to 1080p. That's really useful for people that might have older external capture devices like the HD60S or any of the other cheaper capture cards. This function was also very useful for my case, even though I have a capture card that allows 4K 60Hz. Since I also want to play some of my console games at 4K 120Hz and my capture card only allows 4K 60Hz, this allows me to still send the 4K 120Hz to that capture card and have no issues, as long as the scaler is on. And it looks just as smooth. It's just downscaling the image to 1080p 120Hz instead of 4K. All you have to do to achieve this is go to the front of the splitter, and you see the scaler settings switches over here on the right side. All you have to do is switch it to on the source you want to. They're all labeled here 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just switch it on the ones you want to be scaled, and it'll scale it to 1080p. You want to make sure that your best display is on HDMI output 1, because that's where all the other ones are going to be copied from. So for instance, in my case, I have my new Samsung TV on output 1 and all my other devices on output 2 and 3, because they are the ones receiving the copy of the image and they're not the primary image. If you don't set it up that way, you might have some issues. Just to show you guys what I mean is I have a screenshot here from my Xbox, how it looked when I didn't have my TV on HDMI 1, instead I had it on 2. It pretty much told my Xbox that I didn't have anything, no 4K, no 120Hz. Not sure why. The monitor is able to do 240 Hz and 144 Hz. Not sure why, but it just worked that way with the switch. When I switched my TV to HDMI 1, then it had no issues and the Xbox recognized everything. Again, this device is really good for gamers and streamers because it also has optical out, which is very useful, especially for somebody that has a Go XLR. You have the optical out going into the Go XLR, and that's how you capture your in-game audio for all your consoles. Oh, and one last thing, make sure you read the manual before you think that something doesn't work. I've read some reviews saying that it doesn't support Dolby Vision, but you have to look at the back of the splitter itself and it tells you how to activate the Dolby Vision. A lot of devices don't support Dolby Vision, so they have a EDID switch for it. And all you have to do is go to the front where it says EDID settings. Now, most devices will work on the default settings. You don't have to do anything with the switches themselves. But for Dolby Vision, I do suggest that you switch the first switch down, and that will enable it to have 4K 120 Hertz, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, and 7.1 audio. It should support it without you having to do the switch, but this just forces the device to be on that setting. And that's pretty much all there is to these devices. This isn't my first time I've used their devices. I've used their previous 1x2 and their previous iteration of these devices that didn't have HDMI 2.1. And their devices are always the ones that give me no issues whatsoever. I've tried plenty of other HDMI switches and splitters from Amazon, and I've literally returned every single one because I've had my image go black, or it just flickers once in a while, or it says that it supports a certain codec and then it doesn't, or when it does, it just gives a whole bunch of issues. Easy Cool, I literally never have issues with their devices. Overall, they're 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever scale you want to use. They are the best to do it in the market, and I highly recommend you guys try these things out. I will have affiliate links in the description down below if you guys want to get yourself one. It helps out the channel. So yeah, if you guys want to read up more on everything that these devices can do, check out the links down below. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comment section down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.